Hello everybody and welcome to something immaterially different. I've never done one of these videos. I'm Duncan, I'm a regular host of Immaterial Gamers content. Today we're playing a game called KARDS, and as the title may imply, this is a collectible card game, an online collectible card game, sort of in the same vein as like a Hearthstone or a Magic the Gathering arena type game. Only this one is World War II flavored, because that's something you never knew that you needed in your life. So in this video, I'm just gonna explain the game, what it's all about, my likes and dislikes, and yeah, we'll play a game or two and show you what it's all about. So this game was made by, let me just pull up my notes here. This game was made by a company called 1939 Games, made by two guys who used to work for the company that made EVE Online. So that's kind of neat. And I don't know why it's called KARDS with a K. That's just the way life is sometimes, you know. So let's go and build a deck here. So I feel like that's probably going to be the best way to explain how deck building works. Okay, so you can pick so you pick from one of 5 different countries. You got Germany, Britain, the Soviet Union, USA, and Japan. Germany is really focused on tanks. Tanks are units that can move and attack in the same turn. So they kind of like they like to sort of bide their time until they have enough tanks to just sort of storm the field and take everything over. Britain has a lot of guard units, which is a mechanic that lets you protect adjacent units from being attacked. And so they're kind of neat. The Soviet Union involves a lot of self-sacrifice, I've noticed. It's kind of like, you know, everything for the common, you know, anything for the greater good kind of deal, where no individual unit is more valuable than overall victory. So, Japan is all about relentless aggression. You know, it's just a lot of cheap units to throw at a really expensive problem in the hopes that it'll go away, or that, you know, the enemy will be overwhelmed in such a way that retaliation is kind of moot. USA, they like a little bit of everything, you know. They like tanks, they got like fighters, they like infantry, they like artillery. They've got kind of a balanced bag here. So I'm actually going to be building a US-German deck, because I have found that to be pretty sweet. So, yeah, let's just build a quick deck here. Friendly units on the front line, 1 defense. Yep, absolutely. I got one of these. So, like any collectible card game, you want to make sure that you have a nice balanced curve. You know, you want a decent amount of low to mid-cost cards, sort of tapering down into a small handful of more expensive cards towards the late game. I'll explain more about what these different unit types are and how they work when I actually get into a game. Get more of that. Okay, lots of that. So in this game, you can only build. So when you build a deck, you pick a main faction and a support faction. And how that works is you can use up to 28 cards from your main, or sorry, I guess you can make an unlimited amount of cards in your main faction, but you can only use up to 12 cards from your supporting faction. So yeah, you can get a little bit of support from both things, but you can only use up to 12 cards from your supporting faction. So it really makes a big difference how you structure your build. I've actually gone over here. I've built too much Germany. Too much Nazis. Get rid of that. Don't you just hate it when you have just too many Nazis? Build some artillery. Artillery is really good. I'll explain why later. Friendly tanks. I can't build more Germans, so that's fine. Marine. Ooh, smokescreen. I've built a lot of really early game cards. I should probably bring that back a little bit. Just a tiny bit. That's a really good card. I should probably get rid of this thing. See, random enemy unit. Yep, that's a good one. Alright. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're a little heavy on the 1s and 2s. Let's go back and see if there's anything we can get rid of. I don't really need this, actually. That's probably too much of that, honestly, and probably too many of these. Alright, get one. Get a couple more tanks here. And put in a plane. Cool. Great. So now I have a American-German deck. So let's get into a battle and start talking about the actual mechanics of this game. Boop. Let's go find an online enemy. So there's a lot of similarities between this game and just about any other collectible card game that you can name. You'll get your mana, which is in this game called credits, automatically at the beginning of each turn. You don't have to play lands like in Magic. Everything's just automatic. It increments by 1 unless you have cards that increment it more. It goes up to 12, which is higher than normal. Most games will usually cap out at 10 with some weird limitations and other conditions. This one goes up to 12, and there's a reason for that. So basically, in this game, you don't just pay mana to play the card. You also pay it to use a lot of actions in this game, like just moving and your units around the board and attacking costs mana as well. So you really have to think about how you're going to spend your resources every turn. I found a human. Here we go. He's also American. I didn't catch to see if he had like a secondary thing or not. So like any good opening hand, you want it to be nice and curvy. You want to have stuff to play on each turn. It's a little flat, actually. So I think what I might do is I might get rid of one of these to see if maybe I can get something better. Well, there's a 1-mana card, but I can't really use it. Ooh, Howitzer. Okay, that's a really good card. So yeah, because of the fact that you have to spend money, you can actually see on the card here. It's really hard to read. I kind of wish this was a little bit easier to understand intuitively. But basically, you see you got the big number there on the left. That's how much you pay to play the card. K being just short for credits. And then the smaller number next to it, that 1 there, that is the amount that you have to pay in order to do any action with it, which is moving, attacking, etc. So you really have to think about resource management. Oh, it's my turn. I thought I was waiting for him. Whoops. Not unusual to not have any plays on turn 1. That's a lot of games work like that. I want to go ahead and play my Howitzer first, because Howitzers are amazing. So this game is divided into different fronts. You have, or different lines. You have the support line, which is sort of in line with your base. There is the front line, which is sort of a shared neutral zone in the middle. Which most units need to be on the front line in order to attack the enemy base. With some exceptions, such as the howitzer. Or any artillery unit for that matter. The reason artillery units are really good is because, unlike infantry and tank units, they can only attack. They can attack from anywhere. They can attack something that's over here from here, and they also don't take any damage in retaliation. So that's pretty dope. Ooh, and he just played something that really messes with that. So as I was saying. This is an artillery unit. You'll always get a little pop-up there that shows you what it does and how it works. And they're really great because they can attack from long range. Downside to that is characters that have smokescreen are basically invisible. They can't be targeted. So even though I could reach that guy, he has smokescreen. So no bueno. So what can I do instead? This is a pretty good thing. I like. We'll go ahead and put that guy in there and do a little buff. A little buffy buff. And, you know, we'll just blow up his base. That seems like a cool idea. Sounds like a good time to me. He'll lose smokescreen if he tries to come at me, so he can't really, like, advance on me. But he could potentially set something up and maybe screw with me later. So I kind of got to be on guard, make sure I've got cards in play to fight him. So this is an infantry unit. Infantry can only attack into the next line. So if they're from the front line, they can only attack. So if they're in the support line, they can only attack something on the front line. If they're on the front line, they can attack units from the support line or the base. Infantry can usually also only attack or move in a turn. They can't do both, even if you have the money for it. So they're very limiting in that sense. But they're usually overstated as a result to balance it out. Whether or not they are properly restatted is sort of a matter of opinion, I suppose. So I'm going to go ahead and play these guys. And I'm just going to keep blowing up his base, because if he doesn't play into it, I'm just going to blow him up. He's only got 2 more turns of this. So I really hope that I get all of the important information covered here. I did wake up like an hour ago to record this, because we really needed a video. So apologies if I do miss anything. Okay, so he's done something interesting here, where he's moved his smokescreen unit onto the front line, which means he can now attack any of these guys, and because it's a 5-5, I can kill it. Or he can kill me, rather. Which is a problem, because I want to keep my units alive. But he's also played a bomber here, who can attack from a range, and also has +3 attack against ground units, as you can see from his little tag there. So he can kill anything on my backline, too. So I need to kill that. But I also need to kill this. So I got to find a way that I can efficiently kill both of these things. And as fortune would have it, I actually do have a really efficient way of dealing with that. So let's go ahead and issue this. This is an order card. This is basically like a spell card. It doesn't play a unit, but it does let me have an effect on the field. That one lowered his attack and health, so I was able to kill him really cheaply there. And now I can finish that guy off with a howitzer. And use my other house. Oh, I ran out of time. Whoops. Explanations take a while. But hey, still a good turn. Still killed his stuff. So fighters are like, they can attack from anywhere, the same as an artillery. But unlike an artillery, they actually take damage when they fight. It's not free. I'll move these guys up to the front line. But because of that ability, they can do some, they can get away with some shenanigans. I'm just going to keep hammering his base because I've got some meat on the front line now. So he has to address that and try to kill it. And if he doesn't, I'm just going to kill him next turn anyway, even if he does manage to kill these things. I've basically put him down to 1 turn kill. Mate in 1. I really hope that the copyright on this super ancient, super authentic music that is playing in the background has expired. Ooh, Panzer tank. Blitz units can attack and move the same turn that they're played, which is pretty helpful. Lots of German units have that. Lots of tanks have that. Pretty useful. But I win because I can shoot him down with these artillery units. Boom, blew up his base. I win. First one of the day, yay! I'm a Sergeant. Ooh, I get the little thingy. I won 10 US battles. Go me. Okay, so I guess now's a good time, now that I've won my game, now's a good time to explain sort of what's going on with these cards here. So, you may have noticed a lot of really cool looking artwork and questionable names for all these cards here. The reason why these cards look the way they are and have the names that they have is because everything here is based on authentic World War II artwork and like regiment and vehicle names. You know, like the M8 Greyhound is a real thing. It's a real tank that existed. The 506th Airborne units, 463rd Battalion. It's all real. It's all artwork that was contemporary at the time, that was bought and licensed for this game, which I think is really cool. You know, kind of makes you, maybe makes you interested in going back and learning a little bit about World War II history, if that's something that you're interested in. It does have the unfortunate effect that the names don't exactly roll off the tongue. Like 11th Infantry Regiment is not exactly what I would have called a game, a card in a video game. It's a little clunky, but that's because, military designations were meant to be descriptive, not evocative. It's just like, they call it the 17th Infantry Regiment because it's the 17th Infantry Regiment. You're not going to find a card called Thunder Death Strike Squadron. It wouldn't really feel right in a World War II game. So, yeah. It's pretty cool, pretty flavorful, very pretty artwork. It's a very unique looking game. I'll give it that. So, is there anything I dislike about this game? Well, as you've just seen, artillery units are really powerful. In fact, I have some early questions about the balance of artillery units. Whenever you have a card game that's sort of Magic style, where you can deal damage to an enemy unit without taking damage back, like forever, like not even just as a one-time thing, but as long as the unit is alive, that's kind of a big deal. And especially with this game that has sort of a depth to it, where, not every unit is going to be able to retaliate equally and effectively against such a unit because they're not close enough to it. That does present sort of a big balancing challenge. So I have some early concerns about maybe artillery being just a little bit OP. But we'll have to see how things shake out. I have won a lot of games on the back of artillery, and I've lost games on the back of artillery as well. Of other people's artillery, I should say. So, yeah, there's some balancing issues. Like, I don't know that infantry units are actually that good. Like, most of them kind of suck. A lot of them aren't designed to be overstated because of how cumbersome and not particularly flexible they are. But I question whether they're overstated enough. Like, if they were too overstated, they would obviously be overpowered and the game would suck. But as is, they're kind of cannon fodder. Like, they don't really... They're just kind of there to be a nuisance. They're not really a genuine threat in their own right. You know, most of your best units are going to be tanks, artillery, fighters, things like that. There's also bombers, which are like a kind of fighter that are similar to like flying artillery. You know, they can attack without being damaged back, but they're kind of, a lot of them are really weak. They're either like too expensive for their abilities, or they're just don't do enough damage to justify their cost. So, some things are a little overpowered, some things are a little underpowered. It's brand new, the game's only like a year old, if that, so they're still working on it. It's a very nice game, you know, it's a lot of familiar elements, easy to jump into if you're familiar with card games. With some unique twists, you know, the line mechanic is kind of cool. But yeah, some things to think about as far as balance goes. So why don't we finish this up with just buying some cards, you know? Let's just buy a bunch of packs. From the, I guess this is the base set. As you can see, I've played a little bit of this game. I've got 78 gold from various missions, and sort of you got your sort of starter quests that give you a bunch of money up front for doing, you know, learning stuff. They've also got these theaters of war, which I guess are like single player campaigns that you can play against the AI for cards. I don't know how I feel about these because, well, they're really expensive to buy through gold, and, well, they're not exactly cheap to buy through money either. So I kind of have some concerns about, you know, people having access, you know, having unequal access to certain cards in the game. You know, you had that problem with Hearthstone a lot, which I don't know how I feel about that. Let's buy I would love to buy like a lot of these. Buy. I've got buy. And how about from Allegiance? I'll buy a few of these as well. Alright, let's see what we got. 7 packs. Ooh, we got, is that French? More artillery? Ooh, mobilize. Units get +1 when at start. Oh, that's kind of fucking scary. So basically, mobilize is a mechanic that some cards have where the card gets stronger every turn. It doesn't do anything. Or I guess when it takes damage. Which, ooh, that's actually really scary in artillery, because that means the artillery can actually attack each turn. As long as it's not taking damage, it's still getting stronger. So that's kind of, ooh. That's, ooh, I might have to find a place for that. Deals double damage against tanks. Okay, sort of a counter-tank Soviet card. Combat rate. 3, I mean, that's interesting. Okay. Sort of my turn. And Fury lets you attack twice in one turn, so obviously we're looking to link these two up. That's kind of, that's spooky. That's really scary. Yeah, good pack. Oh, fuck. Give me my cards back. Anything cool here? More artillery. Jesus Christ. Oh, it's the same card. Oh, we got an Italian card. That's kind of cool. Player with the most units in hand draws 2 cards. Huh. That's kind of a weird effect. Let's another card. Oh, another mobilized card. So when it loses mobilize, it gets guard. That's interesting. Very nice. All very good here. Ooh, a bomber with fury. Oh god. That's kind of scary. Ambush. When attacked for the first time each turn, this unit deals its damage first and receives no damage if destroyed by the enemy. Okay. Or if it destroys the enemy. Okay, so that's interesting. That's sort of like... It's sort of like artillery light, where you can get the artillery effect if you kill the enemy before they kill you. So that's kind of neat. We got another artillery ambush. Triple damage to tanks. Okay, that seems a little unnecessary. I mean, artillery basically already has an ambush, so I'm not really sure what the point of that is. Or when attacked for the first time. That's interesting. That's how that works. Yeah, like here it's like, oh, we got 4 mana to play, 2 mana to act, and it's a 2/2. It's like, I mean, this can be shot down by anything. It's so you know what I mean. It's like it's not. They're not. A lot of them are not very strong cards. Ooh, more artillery. Ooh, look at that. 2 mana, 0 cost. A weak card, but +1 against tanks. No cost to use it. That's pretty scary. Yeah, so some cards can act, you know, at 0 cost. They don't. Not every card needs mana to play, but most of them do. Oh, very nice. Alright, so I guess that's kind of explains the basics. I mean, there's a draft play, you know, there's battle against the AI, there's battle against online. There's a lot going on in here, but I think that's going to be the end of this video. If you like what you saw, check out the game. This is not sponsored. I probably should have said that at the beginning. This is not sponsored. They did not. No one paid me to play this. Actually, my friend showed me this game, and I just felt like showing it off. So if you like what you saw, comment, subscribe, all that. You know what to do. You know how to show your like for videos. You've heard it 1,000 times. And try KARDS. It's free unless you pay money for it. It's up to you. So have a good one. Bye.